It is opening night of the NBA. We've got a couple of great matchups ahead. And in this video, I've got 7 different positive expected value plays plus EV plays that we're going to take a look at together. We're going to compare how those plays stack up against some of the top NBA projection models across the industry and decide if we should be taking more or less on these various NBA player props. My name is CJ Curry. If you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button now. It's totally free for you to do. We're on our way to 25,000 subs. I appreciate everybody who's already jumped on the train and is along for the ride. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, you may want to go ahead and turn on all notifications by ringing that bell. And while you're clicking that bell, click that like button as well, letting me know that you want to see more of this type of content here on my channel. Thank you in advance for doing all of those things. Now, let's go ahead and get started here because I'm going to run these picks. We're going to go rapid fire style. There's 7 of them, and I want to keep this video short, sweet, concise, and to the point. First and foremost, if you're not using the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer yet, you should be. This is a game-changing tool here. You can use this tool for a number of different sites such as PrizePicks, Underdog, Better, and any of the other daily fantasy sports pick'em style apps. So definitely go ahead and go down to the description of today's video, use my promo code, use that special link, and you'll save 25% off of the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. This tool has to be in your toolkit in order for you to be a profitable sports bettor on sites like PrizePicks. So let's go ahead and run through these. If you want, you can go ahead and take a moment here, take a snapshot, a screenshot of what you see up on the screen, research these props further if you so choose. But what this app has done is went out and scanned all the different sports books across the industry, and it's looking at the odds of them going over or under. It's removing the juice, removing the vig, and giving you true odds, or fair odds in this case, of these props going over. Now, there's a number of different props that I've already kind of pre-screened prior to starting the recording of this video, so I'm going to run through those. These are all projecting well for the most part. These are all positive expected value plays. Starting with this first one, we're going to be looking at Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics for less than 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists. As you can see here, according to the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer, if we were to flip a coin 100 times, 53 out of 100 times, it's going to land on the under on Jason Tatum having 41 or less when it comes to the points, rebounds, and assists. Now, you're already seeing some sports books listing Tatum at 40.5 PRA, which means there's a point of value here on PrizePicks. PrizePicks just being a little bit too high at 41.5. Now, when you go and take a look at some of the top NBA projection models, such as this one, which is Fantasy Labs here, and you type in Tatum's name, you're going to see a projection of 40.1 points, rebounds, and assists. So that does indicate that they expect him to have less than 42 PRA. Of course, if he gets 42 or more points, rebounds, and assists, we're in trouble, and we don't want him to have 42 or more. Checking the second projection here because every projection model is just going to be a little bit different from one model to the next. This one is RotoWire. You can get a two-day all-access free pass to RotoWire down in the description of today's video. Links to everything, PrizePicks, to RotoWire, to the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer, all that stuff can be found down in the description of the video. But they have him projected for 37.55 points, rebounds, and assists. So another projection for the under on Jason Tatum taking on a tough defensive-minded New York Knicks team. Now I'm going to get you one more projection here. Now this one's going to be found on EV Analytics. If you're interested, you can go over to EV Analytics and sign up and get access to their projection models. But they've got Jason Tatum projected for 37.3 points, rebounds, and assists. So again, a third projection that has Tatum going under 41.5. So that's your first option. The next one's going to be Al Horford of the Boston Celtics. We're staying with the Celtics here. If we punch in Al Horford's name over on the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer and search for him, you can see that the top way to take Al Horford is going to be the over on his 10.5 points plus assists. You're already seeing him at 11.5 points and assists on a site like DraftKings, meaning PrizePicks might just be a little bit too low at 10.5. And of course, we do have some favorable projections that agree that Al Horford should be taken over at 10.5 points and assists. First projection, Fantasy Labs. You see it up on the screen here, 12.6. Again, I don't make these projections. I just use them, and you can choose to use them if you want to, but if you feel some type of way about any of these picks, reverse the picks, fade the picks, or, recommend something else down in the comments section. Do what you want to do. But this projection is looking pretty good here for Horford. Second projection is going to be a RotoWire projection once again. They've got Al Horford at 10.5 points and assists, projected for 12.2. So they've got him going over 10.5 as well. And yes, I can get you a third projection. We'll go back over here to EV Analytics and type in Horford's name there and see what he's projected for. And even 12 points plus assists. So there's pick number 2. Let's go over to pick number 3, which is going to be a New York Knicks pick, Miles McBride, who's sitting up there at 9.5 points, I believe. So let's go over to the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer and type in McBride's name. And once we do so, well, it looks like they've already bumped him down from 9.5 down to 8.5. So we'll skip over that one. Let's go over to Sam Hauser of the Boston Celtics. He's another guy that was looking pretty good at 7.5 points and assists. Yeah, he's still sitting up there at 7.5. You're seeing him at 8.5 on some sports books and sports betting sites. So 52.6% chance that he's going to go over 7.5 points and assists here. Of course, Kristaps Porzingis is still out for the Boston Celtics. And so somebody like Sam Hauser might get some more minutes off the bench for Boston. Taking a look at this one. Again, you got almost a 53% chance of this hitting. So you got to think about it as a weighted coin flip. 53% of the time it's going to land on heads. The other 47% it's going to land on tails. That's the way it goes here. So not much of a difference or edge or advantage, but enough for us to bet the over here. Taking a look at Hauser over on Fantasy Labs, you got a projected for 9.7 points and assists, putting him over 7.5 by over 2 PAs. So that's a pretty good differential or advantage in our favor. Taking a look at where he's at over on RotoWire, we could punch his name in there. You get a projection of 7.5. They've got him at 9.82. 9.82 versus 7.5. That's more than 2.5. So I like what I'm seeing here for Sam Hauser and these projections. And the last one's going to be EV Analytics, of course. I like showing you multiple projection models so you guys can kind of get an idea of how these different models have these guys projected. And in this case, Sam Hauser projecting nicely here, almost 9 points plus assists, again, taking on the New York Knicks. So there's 3 plays from the Boston Celtics. Let's head over to the later game, which is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the LA Lakers. And for that game, we're going to start with Ant-Man, Mr. Anthony Edwards. There's a lot of unders being projected for Anthony Edwards. We're going to take a look at this top optimized play here, which is Anthony Edwards for less than 32.5 points plus assists. Of course, the Minnesota Timberwolves have made a lot of moves in the offseason, most notably getting rid of Karl Anthony Towns and acquiring Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. So we'll have to see how things are changed here for Anthony Edwards, how the dynamic and the chemistry of the Timberwolves is impacted by that big trade. But nonetheless, first game of the NBA season, let's ease into it here. Let's bet light. Let's take a look at Anthony Edwards under 32.5 points and assists. First and foremost, I want to point out here that some of the top sports books in the industry, like DraftKings, BetMGM, and Caesars, all have Ant-Man at 31.5 points and assists. Whole point lower than where PrizePicks has him right now at 32.5. And you're going to see some projections here that also have Anthony Edwards going over 32.5 points and assists as well, starting with Fantasy Labs, where they've got him at 29.7 points and assists. So a far cry from the 32 or higher on the points and assists that could potentially rock our world if he does go over. Taking a look at a second projection, this is going to be RotoWire once again. We scroll on down here and take a look at this one. He's projected for 27.1 points and assists, putting him well under his prop line of 32.5 over on PrizePicks. And of course, last but not least, we're going to take a look at EV Analytics, just as we did with the other players we mentioned before. 30.1 points and assists for Anthony Edwards there. So there's 3 different projections. They all align. They all agree that Ant-Man under 32.5 points and assists is the way to go. Does that mean that it's a guarantee? Of course it doesn't. Nothing's a lock. Nothing's a guarantee. But we have to take advantage of these opportunities, these differentials, this value that we're finding out here on a site like PrizePicks. So let's flip things over to the Los Angeles Lakers side. I got a couple of role players that we're taking a look at here. A lot of the value has already moved throughout the week. These lines have been on PrizePicks for a couple of different days now. But taking a look at Jackson Hayes, over 8.5 points, rebounds, and assists. If the starters aren't full go yet, if they aren't ready to run their full allotment of minutes, then guys like Jackson Hayes will probably get more playing time. So taking a look at his PRA, that's points plus rebounds plus assists, at 8.5. He'll be backing up Anthony Davis, of course, this season. You're seeing a lot of juice here for the over at 8.5. On a site like DraftKings, he's a minus 140 betting favorite to clear 8.5 PRA. You got him at minus 130 on BetMGM, minus 131 on Caesars. And so you're seeing that the money is coming in on the over at 8.5 points, rebounds, and assists for a guy like Jackson Hayes. Now, what about the projections? Let's go take a look. Starting with this one, this is going to be Fantasy Labs, of course. Punching in Hayes' name over there, you're going to get a very healthy projection for the over at 11.1 PRA. So things are looking pretty sexy here for Jackson Hayes going up against the Minnesota Timberwolves. 11.1. And of course, PrizePicks has been 8.5. What about RotoWire? Do they agree with Fantasy Labs? Let's go take a peek. You're not seeing a lot of agreement here on this one. So you're seeing a lot of unders as far as the projections go. Now, they're not big unders. 8.2 projected points, rebounds, and assists on a line of 8.5. So it's not like he's projected for 6.5 or 6.2 or something. He's projected for 8.2. So he's in the neighborhood, in the ballpark. There's still a possibility here that Jackson Hayes can clear at 8.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Let's get you that third projection. And of course, we're going back over to EV Analytics for that one. Punching in Jackson Hayes' name over there, we get a projection of 7.2 PRA. So you got 2 out of 3 projections that kind of shade toward the under on Jackson Hayes. My favorite projection out of all 3 of them is Fantasy Labs, but you guys do with this information what you will. 2 out of the 3 say Jackson Hayes for the under. Take a look at the final pick, I should say, of today's video. Like I said, this is rapid fire here, and you don't have to play all these picks if you don't want to. I'm just showing you what I'm finding here, but this one stood out to me as well. It's another Los Angeles Laker, and I'm talking about Gabe Vincent, a guy we didn't see a whole lot of last season due to injuries. Of course, they are returning a lot of the same faces that they had on last season's Los Angeles Lakers team. Got a new head coach, obviously, in J.J. Redick, so not sure how these guys are going to be utilized. But we got Gabe Vincent sitting out here at 5.5 points and assists with a lot of juice, a lot of action coming in on the under. 53.4% chance that he stays under 5.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Actually, this is just points and assists. Back that up. 5.5 points and assists. 53.4% chance that he stays under. Now, I know it doesn't sound like much of an edge. A 3.42% edge isn't a lot, but we got to take these little edges, and over the long run, hopefully they add up and make us more profitable. So take a look at some projections here for Gabe Vincent. You're going to get kind of a mixed bag, just like you did for Hayes. Starting with this first projection, which is going to be over on Fantasy Labs. They got him at 4.5 points and assists over there. All right, he's primarily a three-point shooter. I think his three-point prop is set at 0.5, so they expect him to knock down maybe 1 3 or not. Either 0 to 1 3-point makes is the implied outcome on his three-point line. Outside of that, I mean, I don't know. Is he going to get the ball a lot? Is he going to have a lot of shots? Is he going to get a lot of minutes? We're not sure yet. This is game 1 of 82 games of NBA basketball, and so that's why I said tread lightly, ease into it, but your first projection is for the under on Gabe Vincent. Take a look at another projection, which is provided to us by RotoWire. RotoWire's got him going under 5.5 as well, about 4.3 projected points plus assists. So that's another under. If you're thinking about taking a LA Lakers prop, this one might be a good one to take. And then last but not least, take a look at EV Analytics, where they've got him projected for about 5.46 points plus assists. A little bit of a sharper line. Got it projected a little bit higher than some of these other projection models do. And that's why we check multiple NBA projection models, because each model is calibrated just a little bit differently and will yield a different result. But there you go, gang. A number of different picks for you to check out over on PrizePicks. PrizePicks still running the Anthony Edwards free square. There's a number of different free squares going on. You're going to get one on Parlay Play as well, a LeBron James free square, and Better has a LeBron James free square going on as well. Links to everything down in the description. If you need promo codes, first time deposit matches, I got you covered for all the different apps down in the description. Go down there and click those links. Guys, I appreciate you. Game 1, week 1 of the NBA. I can't wait to cover basketball with you guys for the entire NBA season. Leave some love by smashing the like button on your way out, and we'll catch you guys in the next video real soon. Peace.